Hey guys, what's up? NullRage here, and it's the day before patch day, so I wanted to bring you one last look at Venom and see how he's changed over the last week of development and all that. I'm going to be rushing through a few of these powers because we've seen them before in the previous skill preview. So just hold on, buckle your seatbelt, and get ready for something awesome. Alright, so he's got two costumes here. Venom Classic costume is going to be his default. Every Venom player will get this. And he will also have his Venom Anti-Venom costume. And it's pretty cool looking. Purchasers of the Advanced Pack or the Venom Pre-Sale Pack, or Hero Pack in general, will have this costume allotted to them as well. It will also be available in the store to purchase directly if you want to go that route. Alright, so his hero synergies, 3% health at level 25, and level 50 gives you 5% damage if below 50% HP. His powers come in... This is very interesting how his powers fit together. He's got this tree here, Lethal Protector, based mostly around regenerating health and Ichor. Ichor is his secondary resource, and it sorta works like Spirit, but it has some, you've got some skills that generate it, and you've got some skills that use it. And that's basically how the two trees are set up. They were, at one time, designed for melee and ranged, but that has been swapped, and now Lethal Protector is your generation tree, and Monstrosity is your spender tree. And over here in Symbiosis, we've got a bunch of passives. And then, of course, your Sig and Parasitic Tendrils. We'll get to that. Alright, so Lethal Protector, Hungering Strike is the first skill in the tree, and it's just a basic melee. Basic. I like how they fix the animation up a bit. He does 2 punches and then 2 claw slashes. I like that. And now we've got Predator's Web. Physical, ranged, area, vulnerability, and slow application. That's not on my bar. Must have jumped off. Alright. So there you go. Very similar to Spider-Man's web spray. Now we've got Tendril Lunge, which is your basic dash. I like how they cleaned up the animation a bit from what it used to be. I like the new animation. It's much more fitting of a brawler-esque type character like Venom is, instead of an acrobat like the original one. Anyway, Dark Tendrils is next up. It's going to do some physical damage, and it will... your damage will increase for each % of health you're missing. It will restore Ichor, and it will spend health to use it. And that's sort of the thing with some of his skills, is they spend health in order to generate Ichor. Some of his skills, like Hungering Strike, will just regenerate health, so you can get that back, and then most of his skills are going to spend health to generate Ichor. And then Ichor, of course, will be used to deal massive damage with the Monstrosity tree. Alright, so Web Snapshot is next up. Physical damage, regen health, ranged attack. Is that the right one? No, that's the wrong one. There we go. There's Web Snapshot. And then next up, we just saw it, Web Barrage. Physical damage. Damage increased with health missing, and restores Ichor, cost health. Pretty much the ranged equivalent of Dark Tendrils here. So Dark Tendrils for melee, Web Barrage for ranged. They seem to do the same thing. And then we've got Web Swing, of course. I like this. I can't get the camera in the right place. But this acrobatic sort of taking his time, Venom's a big guy, and he gets where he's going when he wants to. Just, takes his time. And I like that. It reminds me a lot of some of the 90s Spider-Man animated series with Venom in it, where he's just, strolling through the sky, I guess, with his webs and all that. And next up, we've got Come to Venom. Physical damage, melee power damage increase, so yeah, all your other melees will do more. Restore Ichor and cost health. It's got a cooldown of 4 seconds. There you go. Next up, we've got Web Swing Kick. Physical damage, knockdown, and restores Ichor, cost health. Pretty cool. Now we move on to the monstrosity tree. I'm going to keep one skill right here on my bar just to generate some Ichor when I need it. And monstrosity is all about spending that Ichor to do more damage. Alright, so we got a full bar, and the first skill up here is Symbiote Surge, dealing physical damage and increased damage, 50% more damage against vulnerable enemies. So how do we apply vulnerability with this, actually? Predator's Web. Apply some vulnerability, and then knock them down with Symbiote Surge. Very cool, very cool. Next up, we've got Infect. This has a passive effect and an active effect on it. Passively, it's going to cause you to regenerate health anytime you hit a weakened enemy. You're probably going to want 1 point in this just for that. But it's also got this active effect that deals a damage over time and applies a weaken. Have a look at Infect. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like the animation and the damage over time, weaken, and these two skills right here, Symbiote Surge and Infect, we're going to see them reappear in the Symbiosis tree. So just keep in mind what they do. Deadly Maw. Physical damage. Damage increased against weakened enemies. Apply some Infect, then hit them with Deadly Maw. Let's have a look at... Now, the animation for this has changed, and I like the new one. Let me get some Ichor up. Here we go. And he just literally takes a bite out of crime. That's awesome. I love that animation. Alright, next up we've got Devouring Tendrils. It's this one's been through some pretty good iteration too. I like the new one. Here we go. Good ranged AoE clear. It is actually tagged as a melee ability though, so its range is a little bit low. You know, if you're that's actually really good range. For a melee ability, that's incredibly far range. That's awesome. Physical damage with each I guess activation of it, and if you defeat an enemy with this power, you'll regenerate 210 health. The damage and the amount regenerated goes up with points put into the skill. Next up, we've got Wicked Visage, or Visage, something like that. Crowd control immunity, duration 2 seconds, and it's also going to cower anyone around you. Note, this cower is irresistible. Works on bosses, breaks Juggernaut's charge, Rhino's charge, all that jazz. Use this to your advantage. Have a look. That is a very cool animation, and I love the cower effect on it too. Irresistible? Yes, thank you. Writhing Tendrils is next. Ranged area, Ichor Spender. Physical damage twice per second. And immobilization for 2 seconds. Ranged power base damage will increase by 10%. So use this, then use your other range skills. And it looks like the damage is the only thing that increases. The duration does not increase with points put in this skill. There you go. I like that. Let's get some more Ichor back, and you can see it sends out a number of tendrils here. I go over here. See, there's 3 tendrils that it sends out, and each one seems to explode in an AoE. So if you're at far range, then you might be able to affect an entire area, and if you're at close range, then you're going to, infect a pretty good area. And if that had hit someone else back there too, it would have been affected. That's pretty awesome. Alright, next up we've got Hungry Maw. I love this skill. This animation is great. Alright, so it deals physical damage, it knockdowns, and it regenerates health. The damage and health and knockdown duration all increase with points put into the skill. It's got an 8-second cooldown. That animation is great. I love it. And the regen is extremely useful, considering that Venom spends his health to generate his mechanic here. Alright, that's enough of that. Moving on, we've got the Symbiosis tree, and I'm going to show off these skills first. Let's start with Parasitic Tendrils. I know this is a little bit backward, but go with me on this. It'll make sense in a minute. Parasitic Tendrils deals physical damage in an area around you. It affects 3 targets in an area around you at a time. While hitting, it's going to restore Ichor, health, and reduce damage taken by 50% while channeling. It's got a channel time of 3 seconds. If you just tap it, you're only going to get that 1 second channel. But if you hold it down, it is a channeled skill, and it'll channel for a full 3 seconds, dealing tons of damage, regenerating your health and your Ichor. I love this skill. It's very good now. The damage is nothing to scoff at either. Once you've got some points in it and some gear, it's pretty nice. Now we've got Symbiotic Tendrils. This is Venom's ultimate, and notice it has symbiotic adaptation on it. Symbiosis passives enhance the effect of this power. Notice I don't have any points put in here yet. We'll talk about that in a second. Symbiotic Tendril, or Symbiotic Spikes, is a melee area power, but it has a range component to it because it pulls enemies in. Well, let me just... actually, it won't pull these guys because they're target dummies, but if they were normal enemies, they would all be pulled to me and then thrown up into the air. Very cool, very cool. Now, let's get into the symbiosis powers. We're going to start from the top. I know it's go up and then come down, whatever. Anyway, we've got 2 passives here, and each one of these are mutually exclusive. When you put a point in one, the other one can't be selected. When you put a point, yeah, they're each mutually exclusive with the one beside them. These 2 focus mainly on defense, with We Are Indestructible focusing on regen. Each one's going to give you damage negated 20%, but the other stats are going to change. We Are Indestructible focuses mainly on maxing out your health and regenerating that health, giving you bonuses to max health and health regen. And also has this cool little revive effect, 100% of your maximum health when you are defeated. So it's got that on it. That's nice. And then We Are Unstoppable focuses more on negating damage. You know, if you don't take damage, you don't need to regen it, right? And that's what We Are Unstoppable focuses on, giving you 50% of incoming damage is reduced for 5 seconds when you activate Symbiotic Spikes. And each one of these is going to have an effect that triggers when you activate Symbiotic Spikes. Again, damage negated, and when you're below 50%, again, 20% stacking on top of that other damage negated. Does that go to, like, if you are under 50% and you use Symbiotic Spikes, so you're taking, like, what, 90% reduced damage? Not to mention you've got this crazy amount of defense from the skill already, and for 10 seconds, it's got this extra effect. For 10 seconds after being dealt a killing blow, your health cannot be brought down below 0 or 1. Not 0, 1. So you can't die. Every 4.2 minutes, if you max that out, every 5 minutes, every 5 minutes with just 1 point in the skill, you can't die. Alright, next up we've got We Are Powerful and We Are Cunning. We Are Powerful focusing on a more melee-centric kind of idea. It's going to increase the range of the initial pull effect on Symbiotic Spikes, pulling enemies from farther away so that you can hit them with your melee attacks. It's also going to give you that crit rating, which is doubled for 10 seconds when you hit with a melee power. It's going to negate a percentage of melee damage and cause you to have a chance on hit to cause an Ichor Blast. The damage on the Ichor Blast, or Ichor Burst, and it's referring to Symbiotic Surge, I think. I'm not 100% sure what Ichor Burst means. I'm pretty sure, though, that it means Symbiotic Surge. It could just be an AoE point blank thing that does damage, 3-second cooldown, and it also applies toughness to you and your allies. Now, I love the crit rating here. That's like 622 crit rating. That's incredible. And that's pretty much going to be always up if you choose the right passive here. We are Cunning for more of the ranged playstyle, or if you're doing hybrid, then you can use either one of these. Symbiotic Adaptation makes you invisible for 3 seconds when you activate Symbiotic Spikes. It gives you, of course, that crit hit rating again, and the amounts are the same. At max points is going to be 310, which would be 622 when doubled. This one's going to give you projectile deflection and a chance to cause Infect. Now remember I said, remember Infect over here. That means it's going to do the dot and the weakening effect, giving you, allowing you to hit weakened targets and regenerate HP even without using Infect. You got this proc chance over here. So if you don't want to have this on your bar, then you can use We Are Cunning, and you won't have to use this skill. You'll just automatically use it every so often. It's going to give you and your allies power as well. Pretty cool. Alright, and finally, We Are Lethal and We Are Legion. I don't want to show that just yet. We'll talk about that in a second. We Are Lethal is giving you Symbiotic Adaptation, gain 300 Ichor when you activate Symbiotic Spikes. It's going to give you damage rating and increase the damage of all of your Ichor powers, everything in the monstrosity tree pretty much, and increase your maximum Ichor and reduce the cost of all your Ichor skills. Very cool. And then over here we've got We Are Legion. I'm going to go ahead and put that actual point into it. And notice this is what I was talking about. If you choose one, it's going to ask you, are you sure? Because that means you can't choose the other. Now, We Are Legion is the summon skill that a lot of people have been interested in.
Hello? Anybody home?
Yes, and we're about to have friends. Symbiotic Adaptation. Instantly create 2 symbiote spawns when you activate Symbiotic Spikes. It also gives you damage rating and a 25% chance when you hit with an Ichor power to create a symbiote spawn. Symbiote spawns damage can be seen there, and they also regenerate your health when they hit. They are untargetable enemies, or not enemies, untargetable allies for you. Enemies for other people. Anyway, they work sort of like Squirrel Girls Squirrels, and they regenerate HP when they hit. So let's go ahead and have a look at those. Now it says when you hit with an Ichor power. Let's just use the Symbiotic Spikes to summon 2 of them. So there's 2 of them there, and they're gonna go out and hit that dude. And you can have up to, I believe, 5 of them. Let's see, Symbiotic Surge. You get some more spawns here. There's 3 of them right now. So if I like, there's 2 of them created, 3 of them created, and 2 more. So yeah, a total of 5 if you are using Ichor spending powers and pop your Symbiotic Surge for those 2 extras. Pretty cool. Now finally, we've got the ultimate. The ultimate is activated in this build. It wasn't last week. And it's going to become one with the symbiote to grind the bones of those who would oppose you, grow to immense size, and lash out with hungry tendrils at all nearby targets for the duration. Parker wouldn't like this, would he? I like that on it. Nice little bit of flavor. No, I don't believe he would. Physical damage per hit, it's going to drain a maximum of 10 targets. and the cooldown is 10 minutes like all ultimates. It's also going to apply a damage buff, a crit rating and brute rating buff, and negate 30% of all damage taken while it's active, and regenerate 350 health per second. That's incredible. This thing pretty much makes you do tons of damage and you can't die. Let's have a look at We Are Venom. That's awesome. So he grows in size, he starts draining everything around him, and doing a lot more damage with all of his other skills too. Very cool. Used in combination with his other drains. Incredible skill. Alright, so that is Venom. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to rate, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take it easy, have a good one, peace.